Where does radiation in space come from?
Actually, it comes from three different places when we're in low Earth orbit, like on space shuttle or space station. We have radiation from our trapped radiation belts, the Van Allen belts. We have radiation that comes from outside our solar system called galactic cosmic radiation. We also have radiation that comes from the sun during big solar particle events. Now, the sun has an 11-year cycle. It goes from very minimum amounts of activity to very maximum amounts of activity. And during the maximum amounts of activity, we have lots of solar particle events and solar flares, and we can get radiation from those events. Now, when we're going back to the moon and we're outside of the Earth's protected belts, it's going to be much more dangerous for the crews. We can cause acute effects. The crew can get sick very rapidly, unlike they can on space station or space shuttle.
After about a half-century of human spaceflight, radiation detection and predicting space weather events is still not an exact science. Unfortunately, we cannot accurately determine when large particle ejections, called coronal mass ejections, or CMEs, will occur. A large CME can contain billions of tons of matter that can be accelerated to several million miles per hour. At these speeds, particles can reach Earth in a very short period of time. When the particles reach us, they collide with our magnetosphere and create auroras over the polar regions. Although beautiful to watch, the events which lead to this phenomenon can be very damaging and dangerous to astronauts outside the protection of the magnetosphere. In fact, between the Apollo 16 and Apollo 17 moon missions, a large solar particle event occurred. If astronauts had been in space during the event, the doses of radiation they would have been exposed to could have produced severe health effects within a short time. This is one of the main reasons better radiation prediction and monitoring are a focus of study.
How much time do you have to predict solar flares?
Well, it's actually very difficult to predict space weather. Just as we have a very hard time predicting hurricanes and tornadoes here on Earth, it's very difficult to predict when a solar flare is going to happen. A lot of solar physicists around the world are working on that problem. But right now, we don't take action with the crew until we measure an increase in radiation. We are looking at trying to predict when there's an all-clear period. That'll allow us perhaps to do an EVA on the surface of the moon when we know there's a 90% chance we won't have a bad solar flare within the next 2 days. Yeah, the sun has an 11-year cycle, and every 11 years it goes from solar minimum, 5.5 years later to solar maximum, and then back to solar minimum again. During solar minimum, there are very few sunspots, if any, and thus no solar flares. All the solar flares and solar particle events come out of the sunspots. During solar maximum, we have a lot of activity going on with the sun, and we have a lot of solar particle events. So during solar maximum, we're very active in mission control, trying to keep the crew from getting too much radiation.